Welcome, and thank you for joining the online launch of Child Abuse Prevention Month in Colorado. My name is Michelle Barnes, and I am the Executive Director of the Colorado Department of Human Services. What a year it has been. Last year's Child Abuse Prevention Month launch event was full of energy. A silver lining to these virtual events is the opportunity for more families, county representatives, and partner organizations to join us from across the state as they did last year. I am optimistic we will have that same momentum today. An important reason for honoring Child Abuse Prevention Month is to recognize those people who work each and every day to help positive childhood experiences take root. To all of our community partners and advocates, staff at county human services agencies, and staff at CDHS, I want to say thank you for working together to cultivate relationships, connections, and environments that help children and families thrive. COVID-19 has added stressors to the lives of parents and caregivers, such as loss of employment, loss of income due to lack of paid leave, school and business closings that necessitate new childcare and learning from home arrangements, and food insecurity. Physical distancing has led to the unintended consequences of isolation for many families. The social connections and community services and activities that serve as protective factors against child abuse and neglect under ordinary conditions may have begun eroding for some in this extraordinary time. While the risk factors may have increased, we also know that protective factors increase to support and strengthen families. We've been dealing with the pandemic for over a year now, so it's easy to forget how we all pitched in and helped our neighbors, especially at the start. Stories of getting groceries for your neighbor, teachers doing graduation parades for their students, and learning pods. Little actions made a big difference in the lives of children and families. Benefits like unemployment and food assistance increased. Here at CDHS, we found a way to reimburse families for the cost of the free and reduced lunches they would have received if school had been in session. Along those same lines, donations to food banks increased. In some cases, many cases, more than doubled. An amazing example of Coloradans coming together to help people who they don't even know. Support groups connecting online or the essential workers at anti-domestic violence organizations provided safety during the shutdown. As a CASA volunteer myself, I was especially proud to see CASA step up and engage with young people over Zoom and by sending care packages. And of course, child welfare caseworkers whose careers are dedicated to keeping kids safe and helping parents get the services they need. We thank you all for your creativity, flexibility, and resilience. Today, we're checking in with some families from across the state to hear how they have managed the stress and challenges related to parenting during the pandemic, leaned in on their support systems or asked for help, found ways to meet their families' needs even when money or resources were low, and connected with their kids in ways they may not have prior to the stay-at-home orders. But before we begin those conversations, I'd like to introduce Governor Jared Polis.
Thank you for joining together today to launch Child Abuse Prevention Month here in Colorado. It's really important that we take this time each year and really every day to reinforce the importance of working together to ensure that our children, families, and communities are safe. Even more so this year, Colorado's call to the Child Abuse and Neglect Hotline decreased dramatically, but that doesn't mean that there's less abuse out there. And my administration and the Department of Human Services are working hard to create networks of support to strengthen families and ensure the kids are safe in this challenging time. To get through these challenging times, we're continuing to do our part to keep our families and our communities safe, wearing masks, staying apart when we can. We've all endured loneliness, isolation. We've put off so many important rites of passage, graduations, birthdays, sporting events. Some of the added challenges that have accompanied COVID-19, like loss of employment or income or childcare or school closure, remote learning, have hit parents and caregivers especially hard. But in looking back, I'm really inspired by stories of perseverance and resilience from across Colorado, and I'm eager to hear from even more families today. By working together, by supporting one another, we're emerging from this crisis stronger and more compassionate. Our public health agencies are still working hard to keep transmission rates low. Colorado's human service agencies, community partners are remaining steadfast in our commitment to supporting children and families. There is hope on the horizon. While the pandemic isn't over yet, we can really sense that change upon us. We're getting life-saving vaccines into arms every day. And I'm proud that we reached our goal of vaccinating more than 75% of preschool through 12th grade teachers, over 70% of people aged 70 and up. We really have a once in a generation opportunity to not just build back, but build back stronger, fairer, better than ever before, to reimagine Colorado's future. And also to transform that vision into reality. Imagine what that would mean for Colorado's families and children. This crisis has caused for us to personally reinvest in the value of things we once took for granted, like safe, nurturing places where our kids could learn and thrive and play and grow. There's a lot of work ahead, but together we're ready to take it on. Take care of yourself, and if you need help, make sure to ask for it and continue to wear a mask. Thank you, and be safe.
Thank you, Governor Polis. Facilitating today's family conversations are our co-moderators, Jade Woodard, the Executive Director of Illuminate Colorado, and Noemi Burciaga, the Wellness Program Manager at the Aurora Community Connection Center. They will be sharing short clips created by Colorado families and chatting with them about ways they have boosted their resiliency during the past year. Jade?
Thank you, Michelle. Noemi and I are honored to be a part of the launch of Child Abuse Prevention Month. As Michelle said, Child Abuse Prevention Month is a great time to recognize the people who work each and every day to help positive childhood experiences take root. It's also the time to highlight those families who have developed homegrown solutions to enhance resilience in their own families and in families in their communities. Today, you will meet 4 families from across the state who will share a little bit about their experience parenting in the pandemic and how they are managing stress and finding support.
And to highlight their stories, each family has shared a short video clip with examples of what life in the pandemic has been like for them. Trust me, you don't want to miss these. After enjoying their short clip, Jade and I will chat with the families to hear a little bit more about their experience.
Good job, girlfriend. All right. Bailey, don't be scared. It's okay. Uncle's got you, okay?
So thank you, Anna and Bryson. We just saw your video of you doing different activities with your children and the different ways that you are supporting each other. We also saw in the first clip a singing bowl. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Oh, yeah. So every evening we do, it's my chakra singing bowl. So we do like a nighttime like family meditation to kind of wind down. So Bryson and I do the circle of the bowl to get the sound, and then our girls touch it to feel the vibration, and we ask them what they feel in their body. And if it makes them happy, sad, or calm, and if they're not ready to go to bed, then we do it again, and we probably do like 2 or 3 times because they're busy. So, but that's something that we have done to kind of decompress since the pandemic started, because we're home together all day. And yeah, so that's helpful for all of us.
I also saw in the video that you were going out on a nature walk. Can you tell me a little bit more about what was going on there?
Yeah, go ahead, babe.
Yeah, my mother-in-law, her mom, has a farm. They have 10 acres, and so and my brother-in-law trains horses. So the girls and Anna go out there multiple times a week, and it's just fun, right? They get to go out and have a blast, enjoy the fresh air. Dig holes in random places, learn about animals, learn about horses, and just have fun, you know. So it's one of those things that obviously with the pandemic last year, we didn't get a whole lot of. We didn't get a whole lot of the outdoor space and whatnot as we typically would in a normal environment. So it's a nice getaway for them to have some fun.
And Anna, I hear you say that both of you were with your children pretty much a lot of time at home. How have you been able to manage all this time with 2 young children?
Well, so I am home kind of by default, I would say. I suffered some extreme injuries in 2019 that has had me home with my babies because I've not been able to work. But it's been a very hard transition. We went from me working full time and the babies being gone and Bryson traveling to all of us being home. And at first it was very hard. I'm not going to lie. It was just kind of learning to respect each other in the same space, right? We all have different needs and we don't have a getaway. So that's kind of what we've discovered the farm is for the girls. And Bryson is not able to work productively if we're all here all day because they want daddy and I want help. So, you know, the girls have been so resilient through this and they kind of tell us what they need, right? Like, Mommy, I want to learn, I want to read. So we get reading stuff, and the baby was learning how to walk. So we did walks when we could, and Bryson needs his quiet time. So we've created that space for him to work. So, we've kind of gotten a routine though. We've enjoyed, like, in the mornings, we now like have coffee or tea together. He comes up during lunchtime and does like daddy time with the girls before nap and gives me a little midday break, and then bedtime after work, we just kind of wing it.
So Anna, with what you're sharing with me today and the struggles that you've had, having to be home with the situation, work when you used to work full time and now just being home with your children, what have you done to take care of yourself? For you.
Oh, wow.
That's
a tough question. Take care of me. Well, I've been forced to take care of me because if I don't take care of me, my babies they really can't function, right? Like, they need their mommy, and I need to be healthy for myself and for them. I try to exercise. Thankfully, we have the space to do that here at home. Fresh air, I have to have that every day. That's essential. I journal. I also have kind of become a plant addict. So I have more plants in our house now than I've ever had in my lifetime, and it's magical, right? Because it's something that I now have learned to love, and I've loved myself through that. But it's hard. I would be lying if I said I had it figured out, because I don't. Like, some days I don't shower until bedtime, and that's self-care for me, because I have to, it's one less thing I have to figure out, right? But just know I'm human. Remind myself that I'm human, and I try to rest, but maybe not. So I just try to find the joy. I have a goal every day to find the joy. Like, what makes me happy, right? What gives me life? Because it's hard.
And how about any outside supports? Family, friends?
Yeah. So my family has been our saving grace. So that's kind of what the farm is. Like, I would literally say, Mom, to one of my brothers, either one of my brothers that were in the video with the girls, Nayeli needs a break. Nayeli is struggling. Her listening ears aren't working. She doesn't know how to put her feeling into words, and I'm literally having meltdowns. And they say, okay, bring her out. Or she say, Mom, I need to go to my farm. We call it the Princess Farm. I need to go see my Lolo. And so I take her, right? And so just knowing that there's always that open door. And like with Bryson's parents, you know, his mom is into gardening. So it's like, Nana, I need this, or I need that. And it's so we have a lot of support, but our day-to-day survival support is the barn.
That's neat. So I hear you say balancing work at home, giving yourself some time, allowing the children to have some activities outside the house. The barn has been very helpful. How about for you, Bryson, that you're working from home? How is that going, and how has that given you new perspectives on how to manage all of your tasks?
The transition from working from home was, to be quite honest, was fairly, from a work perspective, was fairly easy and simple. The pieces that make that more difficult are obviously all the things that, you know, have transpired with Anna over the last year, almost year and a half now, and having the kids home, right? That's the biggest challenge. So it's very difficult to be able, you know, to have to say, hey, I can't do that right now, or, you know, and create that separation.
What advice would you give parents who are going through the same situation? So having children at home, working from home, what would you advise them?
You know, this past year has shown that you really have to know how to live with each other, right? You really have to know how to be in each other's space. You know, typically people are at work for, you know, 8 to 12 hours a day, depending on what they do. You know, you have maybe an hour or 2 hour drive, you know, from a commute perspective. So there's a lot of time where you're not around your family. And so when you know, in a normal environment, when you get home, it's like, all right, great. This is my time with my family. This is a special moment. You can kind of take that in. In our current environment, that's very different. You don't have that separation point. You don't have that time to turn the work switch off or turn it on, and turn the family switch off or turn it on. It's both are going 100% all day long. So you know, from an advice perspective, it's find that balance. Ensure that your partner, you know, really knows what each other need. It's a communication piece. You have to be able to communicate properly, and be able to, you know, to share what each other need, and what each other want out of whatever's transpiring. You know, the strongest relationships in our belief are the ones that are able and willing to have the difficult conversations when necessary.
After going through the pandemic, having your children at home, what are you most proud of?
Yeah. Oh, wow. What are we most proud of?
I can answer. You want to think about it?
No, it's okay. So, I would say from my point of view, because this is not anything I ever planned, right? I wasn't planning on being a stay-at-home mom. I wasn't planning on my husband being home all the time. Yeah. I am just proud of the bond that we've built over this, right? Our children feel safe. You know, we've grown together, we've broken together, we've rebuilt together, we cry together. You know, I love that it can say, you know, our oldest is like, Mommy, I just need some time. And Nayeli, Mommy needs some time. You know, and Zariah is learning but she's little, but we know her signs of her needing a break and Bryson needing a break. So we have just recognized, the power that we hold as a family. Yep. You know, but I'm so proud that our kids, they are, through all of this, they are thriving, and me and Bryson, our relationship, I would say, is stronger than ever. We've been together for
16
I don't know, years. 15, 16 years total, married for 5.
Yeah.
And this was by far the hardest year we've ever experienced, you know? So I'm just proud. I'm proud of us as parents. I'm proud of the grace we've given each other and our children through this, and the grace our children have given us, because this isn't parenting in normal circumstances.
Yeah, there's, you know, if I had to pick one thing to be proud of, to be honest with you, the pandemic and everything that we've gone through, it's kind of been a gift and a curse. The gift of it is what I'm proud of, and that's the fact that I've been able to be home, right? Our oldest knows dad, you know, traveling, you know, realistically a quarter of the year, if not a little bit more. And so, you know, if we compound that, you know, over the course of 4 years, I've missed a you know, a year of my child's life, right? That's a long time. So through this, the piece that I'm proud of most is just being able to be there, being able to see every moment, not miss a moment, being able to, you know, be home to help Anna and work through, you know, those challenges.
Anna, Bryson, thank you so much. It sounds like you have done a wonderful job supporting each other, being very resilient throughout these difficult times. Sounds like you are doing a really great job with your children. A lot of fun activities and staying very positive, which is very important during this time. So thank you so much for sharing.
No, thank you.
Mask.
Darn it.
Oh, Ashley, that was so great. Welcome. Thank you. I will never hear the song Hungry Eyes without picturing your son making those meatballs. That was amazing. So tell me, what's it been like for you guys this year?
It's definitely been pretty interesting. You know, when everything first started happening, just dealing with him being home and keeping him busy and keeping kids entertained, I just had to come up with actually different things to keep him home, entertained and happy and healthy. And it's just been a wild whirlwind of crazy, and it's been quite enjoyable too.
I love that you all are cooking together. Is that something you did before?
Yeah, actually, we try to cook every weekend together. Like, I'll let him choose which dinner we're gonna make on either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday night, and he gets to do everything from pulling the ingredients out of the fridge. We go shopping together, so that way he learns the value of what it takes to buy stuff from the start to the finish of the meal. So yeah, it's a pretty important thing. It got more intense during COVID for sure, because it was just, he was so busy beforehand with friends or play dates or things like that. And then he was like, oh, I'll just help you pop it in the oven and I'll say I cooked it. Okay, dude, whatever works for you. And now that he has all this spare time, we've kind of gone from the beginning and the end of a recipe to get our cooking done.
It feels like it's such a unexpected opportunity to learn something new or to try something with your kid that maybe, you know, you wouldn't have had the time or the, you know, energy before. What have you guys learned other things? Are there other things you've done together?
Yeah, I learned, and I'm teaching him to cross stitch. We're doing little patterns together of embroidery and cross stitching for presents this year and next year for our family and friends. So we've done some art.
What a fun just way to make the most of being home. And is he in school? Is he going to school? Is he back in in-person school?
He's been in the hybrid program right now where he goes in session in school twice a week and at home 2 days out of the week, and Friday is kind of it's a study hall day, but when he doesn't study during that day.
Yep. So how do you feel like he's doing with all of it?
At first, it was pretty rough. There was a lot of emotions and things that we had to work through, and some fear just because of the way that his brain works and being neurotypical with that type of brain. His fight or flight is always on. And when news of COVID hit and all the awful things that were being told to you via news, via online sources, I had to kind of, we actually shut the news off for the first, at least in the living room, for the first portion of COVID, just because it was terrifying him. He was like, he didn't want to go outside. He started, reclusing back into some old behaviors. And that's when I had to, just be like, dude, we got to get through this. I know it's scary, but if we wash our hands, if we wear our mask, if we do all of this, you're going to be fine. And once I explained it that way, and I found some news articles that were more realistic and actual stuff from the CDC and everything like that, because of the way his brain works, logically he was like, okay. And then it wasn't really a concern after that once I showed him the data, and with me continuing to work throughout COVID, not really working from home at all, it's just been a learning curve.
Those first few days where we were, trying to figure out like how to explain to our kids why they're home, and that was intense for sure. And how's it feel now? Do you feel like, since you guys have found a rhythm, do you feel like you're managing
I feel that
differently?
we've definitely found a rhythm, pretty solid routine, which is kind of funny because after spring break they'll be going back to school full time, so that routine is going to be adjusted again. But the one great thing about Tristan's and mine's relationship is that we're pretty honest. Honesty is a huge thing in my household, where even if it's you're having a bad day, you don't like me right now, tell me, and we're going to talk about it and figure it out. So when he came to me and the schedule was too much with the classes and everything, and he couldn't understand how to log on, and it was difficult with me being at work and him being here, I could log in and be like, hey, no, you put your cursor over here and everything, but it was also inhibiting work stuff, so I had to be more dependent on him. So what we did was we sat down and I printed off like a huge poster, it's over here on the wall, of his class schedules, the times, they're color coded. It has all the ways to get onto the Wi-Fi, and then I also have the veto power of turning the Wi-Fi off to the other devices, so that way he logs on instead of watching TV.
It's overwhelming though. How are you doing?
I've had my days. I've definitely had my days, but I've really, really tried to make sure that I'm also taking care of me. I've the cross stitch is something that I thoroughly enjoy, and it's so, for me, I can't talk for a lot of people who try to do it, because I have a lot of people who are like, this is so frustrating. Yeah, it can be. But it's a repetitive behavior with the way that you stitch it. So for me, I can take 30 minutes go do a couple of rows and, you know, wind down.
Nice. So I saw that silly seems to be an important thing to you guys. What's your favorite silly thing you guys have done this year?
We just try to be as silly as possible, whether that's, we play this game called Utter Nonsense. I don't know if you've heard of it, but it's a card game for families where you draw a card and you have to say the sentence with either an accent or like an action where you would say it. Like if you were underwater, you would have to try to say this sentence underwater. And it's definitely caused some silly moments.
We have a Go Fish game that we play with our little ones, and instead of saying, like, do you have an octopus, we started making up the noises you have to say instead. So it's, do you have a... So we're all about the silly.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much, Ashley. Thank you for sharing with us. Thank you for telling your story and talking about Tristan. It's been really, really fun chatting with you.
It's been really enjoyable talking to you as well. Thank you.
This is what we do every day, all the time. Washing dishes, lots of dishes. Okay. Yeah, what do you think, huh? What do you think? Laundry, anyone? Just when you think you're done, there's always more. But here's to a break.
Well, welcome, Lisa. That little boy sitting on your lap while you're trying to work is so relatable to so many parents right now. What's it been like for you?
It's been kind of crazy. I mean, obviously with everybody, compared to other people, I can't really speak to that. But for us, we weren't used to spending a lot of time together. So that was a huge a difference. And personalities definitely shined, and good times and bad. I can tell you that. But we survived. May have some scars along the way, but we are still surviving right now. So it's good.
Yeah. So I understand you have a handful of little ones in your home. Tell me about the kiddos.
Well, we have 3 teenagers that are 17 and 17-year-old girl, and then 2 15-year-old boys. And then we have a 2-year-old little guy that his adoption was final this last summer. And then we just took in a newborn foster baby on the 16th. So he's just 3 weeks old now. So it is kind of a routine change, and we just have to, it's just been kind of crazy, but that's how our whole life is. We just kind of roll with the punches. Whatever comes, we just deal with it and move on. So
you're managing a lot at home with the juggling all the kiddos, work. I saw plenty of dishes and laundry, and oh mama, I can relate.
Yeah, it's never ending. The laundry is just never ending. So we have 8 people that live in our home. So yeah.
Did you say 8 people?
Yeah, because we have a grandma that lives with us, and then my husband and myself. So yeah, it's definitely a lot of things, a lot of moving parts that have to be taken care of. And, but through the course of the pandemic, I think we lowered our standards a bit so that we could accommodate our own mental health, and realize that, at the end of the day, we're good. It doesn't matter if we have a boatload of dishes or a boatload of laundry. We're fine.
So how have you taken care of yourself throughout all this?
Well, at the beginning, I would say not so well, but I've learned that I can not be very nice sometimes, so I have to make sure that I am taking care of myself. Just being able to reach out and ask for help has been kind of an unusual thing. I am a person that likes to give and do things for others, so it's not easy to ask. but it has kind of forced me to rely on those folks in my inner circle to do things for me, whether it's, buy pizza for a crazy day for us to have at night, or, just organize some things for us. And it's actually turned out to be a really huge blessing to know that we've got people in our lives to fill those gaps for us.
So tell me about your support system. Tell me about what it's been like to have to reach out.
Well, humbling, as I said, but I think that at the end of the day, the people that I've reached out are ones that are coworkers. My coworkers are a huge support to me. We work from home. We are an extension from a team in Aurora. And so here on the Western Slope, we kind of tag team and do things together. So we've supported one another really well. We have our church support. We have just close friends that have been able to recognize when stress is taking place. And that's the biggest thing, is what people that know you well enough to know that something's off, and they can step in and say, here, let me just do it. Instead of having to ask, they just come in and do it for you. So that is the best kind of support, because then you don't feel like you're imposing on their space, but they're willing to step in for you.
Absolutely. So tell me about your work. I understand that you run or are part of an organization that supports foster and adoptive parents.
We are. Project 127, we exist to inspire, recruit, and then resource the local church and community to stand up and step into that gap for foster families. Obviously, recruiting, we always want more foster families, but also the families that have adopted and are fostering, we want to be able to support them emotionally and physically if there's needs that they have, that we can be that for them, because we understand that isolation is one thing, but when you're isolated and you're trying to raise someone else's child, it magnifies the situation, because there's such a high expectation for you in doing that. So we want to help alleviate what we can, especially during this time. So,
yeah, because our kiddos need that connection too.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think that when we rob them of that, because as an adult we can kind of assimilate, we've managed our lives and being able to figure out those emotions and where they need to go, whereas a kid, they go one place. I mean, depression is huge. They just stay in the room. We did a lot more screen time than what we usually allow, and which is kind of scary, because you're like, what's going on behind the screen that I'm not seeing or whatever, but you're in survival mode, every one of us. And so it's just a matter of, again, lowering those standards a bit so that we can survive. But now that, things might be opening back up and life returning to somewhat normal, not forgetting what we've learned, but not forgetting, who we are and what we want to continue to be. We want to make sure that we give them that opportunity. So.
Well, I am noticing a theme here of connection being something that is really important to your path this far, but also what you're looking forward to moving forward.
Yeah. But, there's something about, even though this whole online Zoom meetings and things like that did provide connection. So, it was valuable. It was like, had we not had technology to do this, and it opened up opportunities that this can go forward and still be a productive piece of our normal lives. And so I think it's been a great eye-opening experience, if you will, without the fear of the disease or anything, or the illness. But I think that going forward, we can definitely bring those things with us and not forget how valuable it was to be able to see face to face, even though we couldn't touch. We still were able to be able to chat with friends from far away that we don't. It's more than a text. It's more than it was more than what we were doing before. So it was a good thing.
It's almost enabled a different kind of connection, because it was we've learned how to use new technology. It's become part of our daily life.
Another thing of being home, it caused us to let go of a lot of busyness that, because I'm a busy person. I like to be busy. It forced me to not be. And so now I'm like, wow, I took naps. I just took care of what I needed to, because I had space for myself. Even in the high stress of it all, there was still space that was taken from another busy time that I didn't have to take my kids XYZ places every day. And so we were able to relax. But now we're ready to get back into that swing of things and enjoy just communion with other people, you know, so.
Thank you so much, Lisa. It has been just lovely chatting with you today. And thanks for letting us have a peek into your family and what this time has been like for you.
Well, I appreciate the time to share.
¿Acabaste tu tarea? Ok. ¿Cuánto hiciste de math?
Did math.
What time?
I think it was 3. I won't be able to get out. Exactly. No.
¿Necesitan más nieve para traerles más?
If you need more snow, so to put more on you. No.
Sin empujársela ni aventarla, pa, porque le lastimas. ¡Ey! ¡No!
No.
Ahorita te va a dar una revolcada.
Acabamos de ver el video de Judith jugando con sus niños en la nieve. Judith es una madre soltera de 7 hijos, 4 hijos que viven en México y sus otros 3 hijos más pequeños que viven aquí con ella en la ciudad de Aurora. Y bueno, pues muchas gracias, Judith, por compartir eso. Sé que anteriormente me ha contado que tuvo un año muy difícil y bueno, quisiéramos saber un poquito más sobre su experiencia, cómo fue el año pasado durante la pandemia y ser padre.
Hola, buenos días. Gracias, Noemí. Y es un placer estar aquí con ustedes y compartir un poquito de nuestra vida. El año pasado fue un año difícil y muy pesado. Incluso yo el 23 de febrero me rompí los nervios de la pierna izquierda. Entonces, cuando se declaró la cuarentena de la pandemia, yo ya estaba prácticamente en cuarentena. Luego después empezaron ya de los niños con las clases online. Para mis hijos fue difícil por el hecho de que ellos tenían que ayudarme para comer, para lavar, para limpiar, ir a comprar el mandado, e incluso ellos me tenían que ayudar a levantarme de la cama para poder ir al baño. Entonces sí fue difícil y fue complicado. Nosotros somos un equipo, los 3 niños y yo siempre es a cocinar, lavar, limpiar, y cuando se trata de hacer también travesuras, también los hacemos juntos. Hay veces que ellos me dicen, mami, tú te comportas más como un niño que nosotros. Y luego les digo, pues por eso es divertido, porque me pongo al nivel de ustedes.
Y eso es importante, poder jugar con tus hijos, darles alegría y ponerte en el lugar de ellos, ¿verdad? Para pasar un buen tiempo.
Sí, porque muchas de las veces actuamos nada más como el papá, como el adulto, o la mamá que tiene que llevarlos o traerlos, y nada más es la mamá. Y no, les digo, aquí todos somos iguales, somos un equipo, porque siempre hemos sido un equipo de 4 y siempre hemos salido adelante los 4 juntos, gracias a Dios.
¿Tus niños hicieron escuela virtual durante la pandemia?
Sí, ellos y a la fecha siguen en escuela online, porque es difícil ahorita que tienen diferentes tiempos y yo tengo 3 escuelas, tengo elementary, middle school y high school. Entonces opté por mejor seguirlos dejando de esa manera para que no se nos complique tanto, porque uno es un día, otro es un rato, entonces no tenía caso regresar a clases en presencia, pudiéndolo hacer virtual, y siento que no les ha perjudicado estar de esa manera, ya que Kiara está en clases avanzadas y está en el cuadro de honor de Aurora Central, está en cuadro de honor, y Leslie fue también el estudiante del mes. Michael, él le gustan las matemáticas, le gusta la escuela, pero él no se presiona tanto en la vida por la escuela.
Y Judith, ¿cómo le has hecho para que tus hijos sigan motivados en la escuela, aún haciendo sus clases en línea?
Yo les digo, mírenme a mí, yo he tenido que limpiar casas, he tenido que limpiar baños, he tenido que limpiar en las casas lo de los perros, lo de los gatos, andar cuidando niños y hacer comida para vender, vendiendo ropa, vendiendo zapatos, perfumes. Yo sí les digo, yo soy un ejemplo de lo que ustedes pueden lograr. Digo, miren, yo no tengo estatus, no hablo inglés, mas sin embargo, gracias a Dios, tengo puertas abiertas y me he ido involucrando. He trabajado con la organización UNE y también con Servicio La Raza y el Village Exchange Center. Aunque tengo un IT number, con eso me pueden dar trabajo. Les digo, ustedes tienen sus alas. El límite es el cielo y el universo. Así es que los límites se los van a poner ustedes.
Judith, nos platicabas que tuviste un año con dificultades. Cuando todo eso sucedió, ¿cómo fue que buscaste ayuda?
Como conozco las organizaciones, la primera que recurrí fue Aurora Community Connection. Yo hablé con una de las representantes y me ayudaron para el Fondo de los Trabajadores Olvidados y eso me ayudó mucho. Y también me ayudaron en cuestión para lo de la renta, ya que por mi problema en la pierna y lo de la pandemia, tenía mis ingresos muy bajos y ellos me ayudaron con esos recursos.
¿Qué otros recursos tuviste para apoyar a tus hijos durante ese tiempo difícil?
En la escuela Crawford Elementary y la North Middle School y también en Rice, Colorado, nos ofrecieron despensas y en diferentes lugares estaban anunciando despensas, distribución de más comida fresca. Entonces lo que hacíamos era que íbamos a los lugares. Y Rice, Colorado nos proporcionó algunas tarjetas como prepagadas para que pudiéramos tener acceso a comprar jabón, shampoo, cosas personales.
Entonces te informaste sobre los recursos que había en tu comunidad y fuiste a preguntar por ellos.
Sí, porque como yo tengo tiempo activa con las organizaciones, sé un poquito de cómo navegarlas, pero a veces también, y voy a ser bien honesta, a mí a veces me da pena andar pidiendo recursos porque yo muchas de las veces pienso que pedir recursos es como darme por vencida, como si yo no pudiera hacerlo. Entonces, a veces se me dificulta ir a pedirlos. Pero el año pasado fue un año muy difícil y tuve que pedir los recursos. Incluso tuve que pedir hasta las estampillas. Porque yo dije, mientras que tenga segura la comida de mis hijos, lo demás yo lo resuelvo de una y mil maneras.
Y pienso que eso fue algo muy bueno, haber utilizado lo que tenías a tu alcance. Para eso están esos programas.
Sí, y más que nada, como hay muchas personas que les da miedo pedir recursos aunque los necesiten. Y fue como me dijo una trabajadora social, dice, el que pida las estampillas no es un problema, ni estás haciendo algo malo, es el derecho de tus hijos. Y tus hijos tienen derecho a tener un plato digno de comida.
Ok, gracias Judith. Bueno, pues hemos terminado y te quiero agradecer tu tiempo por haber compartido con nosotros tu historia, pero también todas las fortalezas que tienes como madre, que veo muchas fortalezas en ti. Veo que eres alguien que motiva mucho a tus hijos, alguien que busca recursos en la comunidad, alguien que también dona su tiempo para la comunidad y que inspira mucho a sus hijos, que cuando hay una dificultad siempre hay que levantarse. Y toda esa comunicación que tú le das a tus hijos es muy importante para seguir adelante.
Al contrario, Noemí, muchas gracias por dejarme ser parte de este equipo y sobre todo de hablar de nuestras historias y muchas gracias y bendiciones.
I think that these stories are a very good reminder on how important it is to support each other during difficult times. And now I would like to turn it back to Michelle Barnes.
Thank you, Jade and Noemi, and thank you to Ashley, Anna, Bryson, Lisa, and Judith. What inspiring stories of resilience. With vaccine distribution in full swing, we are beginning to think about life after the pandemic, but we are not out of this yet. I think parents who we heard from gave us great ideas about what we can do to lift one another up. We can all do something to strengthen families, and we've heard from parents today about what works. Reach out and listen. Be there when the parents you know need advice, need to vent, or need to talk about anything other than their kids. In the past year, kids have grown and changed, so it's important to be there for them as they test out independence and deal with their own frustrations or mental health challenges. Parents, take the time you need to take care of yourselves. Ask for help if you need a moment to yourself. Employers, support families by being flexible when you're able and understanding of the parents' multiple roles. Parents, remember that every parent needs help from time to time, and there are organizations out there for you. For those of us able to donate or volunteer, that's more important now than ever before. We will be sharing resources and tips all months on the CO for Kids and CDHS Facebook pages. One other thing we can do this April to show our support for child abuse prevention is to plant a pinwheel garden. Pinwheels represent the bright childhoods we all want for children, and Illuminate Colorado is giving away pinwheels for prevention to inspire Coloradans to grow a better tomorrow for all children together. Visit copinwheelsforprevention.org to order them. And I'm encouraging everyone who may be concerned about a child's well-being to call the hotline at 844-CO4KIDS. If not you, then who? Welcome, and thank you for joining the online launch of Child Abuse Prevention Month in Colorado. My name is